So we've all been there. It's a Tuesday, 2:15 in the afternoon, and you just finished a meeting that could have been an email. And you're staring outside of your office window, you've been working for a while, you're tired, and you're wondering, is this it for the next 35 years? You want to quit, not because you're lazy, but because your mental health is redlining, but then you remember you just had a $7 Thai fund, a stack of bills you have to pay, and a $1,500 rental or mortgage payment that is due within the week. And it's 2026 right now, and Singapore isn't gonna get any cheaper, and let's be real, it probably never will. But freedom isn't an all or nothing game, you see. Today we're not talking about retiring at 65, but how you can create and build a I hate my job fund and the exact dollar amount you need to walk away and find yourself again. So most financial advisors will tell you to save 6 months of expenses for emergencies like medical bill or retrenchment. But the Freedom Fund or the I Hate My Job Fund is going to be a little bit different. It's proactive and not reactive. So look at it this way. An emergency fund is one that keeps you alive in the event you get fired.
I'm alive. I'm alive.
And the Freedom Fund or the I Hate My Job Fund is one that gives you the power to fire your boss.
You're fired!
With the new CPF changes that just kicked in January 2026, the salary ceiling is now $8,000. And if you're a high income earner, you will probably notice your take-home pay taking a dip. And back in 2025, on an $8,000 salary, you would have brought home $6,520, but now you only bring home $6,400, which means we might have less cash on hand, especially if you're earning more than $8,000 a month. So in a way, you kind of lose $120 to CPF, but the silver lining here is that your OA and SA are growing much faster, but it also means that we need to be much smarter with the cash we actually have left. So with the sad fact that we have less money in our bank accounts right now, the next question to tackle here is how much do we need to survive each month, or our monthly survival number, or I would like to call MSN. And I really hope that at this point the millennials do get my joke. So the good news is you don't need $1 million to retire or take a break. But once you find out your MSN or your monthly survival number, you'll realize that freedom is closer than you think. So I'm going to use my own real life breakdown as a case study so you guys understand what's happening. So there are 4 main categories or things or segments in life that you need not only to survive but also to thrive. And I need to put a caveat here that this is based on my own personal numbers, so yours might vary a little bit and that's okay. So the 4 funds here are your fixed expenses fund, your survival fund, your insurance fund or protection, and your sanity fund. So for fixed expenses, this is where it includes your utilities, your mortgage, your rent, your mobile bills, etc. So my share of the mortgage is $1,000 a month paid by CPF, utilities is about $50 and mobile is $18, and total cash out per month for this segment is $68. So next we got the survival fund, and this usually consists of all your groceries, your things that you need to survive, or your daily necessities that you need in your house. So I spend about $400 on my trust card because I love cooking and I always overbuy ingredients. And while the CDC vouchers do come in handy, they do not last forever, and I do expect this portion to increase over time. So next we have insurance, and this category for me is probably one of the most expensive ones because I've got a medical condition which results in additional premiums for some of the policies that I own. And in total for all the policies that I have, I'm paying about $600 a month. And lastly, we have the sanity fund, and which is also one of the largest spending for most of us here because this is everything else that keeps you sane and keeps you happy as a person. So I have Netflix and Adobe subscription, which comes out to about $50 a month, and then there is dining out in December, which is about $1,169, and there's transportation about $400 per month, includes your bus, trains, and private hires, and then there is also a gym membership that's about $300 a month. So if you add all these numbers together, it will look something like $3,000 a month, and I'm pretty sure this number will slowly increase as time goes by because of how inflation and shrinkflation works. So with the MSN that we have, we can now put this into a freedom fund equation, and the formula for this is really simple. All you need is your monthly survival number times the months of freedom that you want plus a 20% oh shit buffer. So essentially, if you're looking to take maybe 12 months off work just to reset, to recharge, and to recalibrate, I will probably need something like 3,000 times 12 plus 20%, which gives me or comes up to roughly $43,200. So this number is a little bit more achievable than looking at a big number of 1 million all the time. And for me to hit this $43,200, this will take me a couple months of not eating, not paying the mortgage, and that's really impossible to do. And leaving it in the banks also do not give us much interest. And with the recent interest rates falling, I don't think it's going to change anything in the near future. So this is how I'm going to split my money up into 3 different buckets. So the first bucket is a foundational bucket, which will hold 70% of our money. And right now I'm using Trust Bank and OUB1 account. So these are the ones that kind of give me a little bit more interest because I'm crediting my salary as well as doing my spend with my NTUC membership card that gives me a little bit of cashback. So I do have some USDC that's earning me roughly 3.5%, and this interest is credited live into my account, which is kind of cool. So between the Singapore dollars and the USDC that I have, I kind of put a little bit more into USDC because of the high interest rates, and if need, I can easily transfer the money into my Ready card for spending because it works like a regular debit card. And if you haven't watched it, I'll link the review to the Ready card in the cards right above so that you guys can take a look at that if you are into USDC or holding any crypto. The second bucket here is the mid-risk bucket, and it will hold roughly 20% of my money. So this is like the small investment account that I'm building in another series on this channel as well, and this is where some money is flowing into to purchase STI ETF or local stocks. And the plan for this bucket is to stay in the market as long as possible, so I do get some dividends as passive income, and at the same time there is also some capital gains that can potentially come along with. So lastly is a wildcard bucket, and this will probably hold roughly 10% of my freedom fund. So the idea of this 10% is to give us a wildcard play or lottery windfall. So what would be here are things like my crypto, which are more risky and volatile as compared to the rest. So for example, if I do hold Bitcoin and Bitcoin goes up, it can accelerate my purchase of freedom, and if Bitcoin goes down, it will only push me back by 10%. So now imagine, in the next few months, once you have your MSN done, you have your freedom fund set up, now comes the last part and the final part of the freedom fund plan. So once you hit that freedom fund number, do not immediately hand in your resignation because we need to ensure that we can still grow our money while enjoying freedom. So one of my goals this year, and what I feel is a prerequisite of the freedom fund, is to max out your medisave. So in 2026, 79,000 is the cap for medisave, which means that any interest or incoming CPF that goes into medisave will be redirected into your SA account, which will help you build your retirement nest egg. And once you have maxed out your medisave, in a way your medisave is gonna be bulletproof. So once you have everything set, your medisave maxed out, the next thing we want to do is to do a test month. So go on with life for a month and spend within your MSN number. So treat it like a test to see if that amount that you have set for yourself is something that you can live within. Otherwise, you need to make some adjustments to ensure that you can enjoy your freedom and not needing to scrimp and save just for the sake of freedom. So at the end of the day, the I hate my job fund isn't about being rich. It's about knowing that if your boss screams at you tomorrow, you have that financial oxygen to walk out the door and say, I'm done. So if you look at money as just a tool to buy back your time, and you start building your foundation today, that Tuesday afternoon slump will not feel nearly as heavy. And this brings me to the end of today's video. I hope you guys got something out of it. And with that, I hope you guys stay safe, invest safe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.